Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm reviewing my 3-night cruise on board the MSC Seashore. This cruise I was in Yacht Club for the first time, MSC's highest end accommodations, and I visited Ocean Cay, MSC's private island. We'll explore, eat, and enjoy everything we possibly can on board and on shore in this video, so come along and let's get sailing. Unfortunately, my last flight as an Executive Platinum on American Airlines to Orlando, I was not upgraded, but no big deal. A quick ride on the People Mover and a lift ride over to Terra Luna, which is one of the newest resorts over at Universal Studios. It's part of the expansion for Epic Universe, and I was excited to check out some of the new hotels in the area. Just had one night before my cruise, so this was super convenient for me. It was very cheap as well. It's a budget hotel, and you can check out a full tour of this on the channel. I'm always surprised how nice the value properties are over at Universal Orlando. They have gyms, they have nice, huge resort-style pools, pretty good food and beverage. They even have a bar in the lobby. So overall, a great stay, and I do encourage you to check out that video. The next morning, I called an Uber to head over to the port. It's about $65 for a ride over to the port, and this is pretty par for the course with my other times that I've taken an Uber. So not too expensive, especially if you're sharing. That's a car that can fit 4 people feasibly, but it was just me, and it's a little bit easier than trekking back to the airport and then grabbing a very cheap shuttle over to the port. It's usually $25 or $30. MSC is operating out of Terminal 10 right now, and this is sometimes shared with Disney Cruise Lines when they have 2 ships in port. So I think the Wish is coming out of here right now. Never been to this terminal, so it was cool to check out that. Arrived out of my Uber. I just had a small carry-on bag, so I was going to take that on board. I am sailing Yacht Club during this video, so this is a fully new experience for me, and I knew that I could take my bag on board and basically get my cabin right when I walked on board. So I didn't use any of the porters or anything. They had a nice check-in area here, clearly marked for Yacht Club. A short wait to get my name checked off the list, and got a cute little sticker here. I'll mention a lot of the inclusions with Yacht Club throughout this video, but I'm going to do a full breakdown of what Yacht Club is in a future video. Yacht Club has their own area of the terminal that you get to check in at. It has a full seating area, and as I found, even has champagne and a butler waiting. One of the things that they do tout a part of Yacht Club is that they actually take you on board. You're escorted on board by one of the butlers in the Yacht Club. Here I'll say they did have a lot of signage, but it was a little confusing to find the exact area for the Yacht Club, and maybe that was just the time that I was walking into the terminal. I had an arrival time of about 12:30 p.m. That was around the time that I arrived here. Once I was escorted to the correct area, it was very relaxing. A butler was waiting with Prosecco, mimosas, or orange juice, whatever you preferred. And then there was a table in the back for refills if you wanted a few more drinks while you waited. We waited here about 15 minutes. They did all of the check-in process here. So I got my MSC band, which acted as my room key. A lot of cruise lines use these, and it's very convenient on board for purchasing things, accessing your room, or even sometimes stepping off the ship. Here on MSC, it just works for kind of on-the-ship activities. You still need your key card and ID most of the time getting off of the ship, but very easy to go through the whole process here. Got my key card, and then the wristband there acts as the key card as well. I was happy to indulge in a glass of Prosecco or 2 waiting to be escorted on board, and it was not a very busy area at all, so a very comfortable wait. So while this maybe didn't save too much time in the terminal because of the wait and what I saw in the terminal, it wasn't too crazy there. Where we did start to see some time savings were actually clearing security to get onto the ship. Most of the people in regular class, I guess, not Yacht Club, were waiting, and it was pretty backed up. One of the furthest backed up I've ever seen on a gangway, actually. And our butler escorting us on board told us exactly what to do, follow her. And we ran to the left of everyone else, and she pushed through. We were on board very shortly. Now, one thing about stepping on the ship here is they scan you as soon as you step on board. And I was filming here, and the security guard let me know pretty curtly that no filming was to be filmed on scanning the key card, so I had to abruptly stop filming right here. I think that definitely could have been handled a little bit better, but no big deal. And it was very busy on board, very chaotic. Embarkation day on any ship is usually pretty all over the place. And so our butlers were doing a good job of corralling us to the correct elevators, where they were taking us up to the muster station just to get that handled before heading up to the yacht club. This part I thought was like a little disjointed. We had to wait for an elevator that fit everyone, and because of the size of our group, it took a couple of trips. It was just one flight of stairs up. I honestly would have just preferred to return to the muster station a few hours later after checking in, and rather just head straight up to the yacht club, but not a big deal. But it is pretty chaotic here on Embarkation Day. But after a quick muster station check-in, it was comically quick, just a literal scan of the keycard. We were heading into the Yacht Club. So the Yacht Club is basically a ship within a ship. We have our own private areas, our own private restaurant, our own sun deck, our own pools, and it no need at all to ever leave the place if you don't want to. Of course, I'm exploring the ship and checking out everything there possibly could be on board to do. But here's a first look at the cabin. So I got on board as cheaply as I possibly could. I booked an inside cabin, which I was very surprised that they had those on board for Yacht Club, but they did. It was a very reasonable price for a solo cruiser like myself. Paid about $12.50 for a 3-night cruise. And while that's certainly not a budget voyage by any means, Yacht Club does include a lot of things like an internet package for 2 devices, a full drinks package, and just a lot of other inclusions that we'll get to throughout the video here, including a private area on Ocean Cay that we were visiting on this voyage. So overall, I thought it was a very fair price and a very good deal for this level of service compared to all the other cruise lines. Now, the cabin itself was very comfortable. It was an ADA room. I think I was just assigned this because I believe I just booked a guarantee cabin. I didn't really care what inside cabin they put me in. I just knew I was going to be in Yacht Club, so that was totally fine. But one of the cool inclusions here is you do get your own espresso machine. The mini bar is included, though not the snacks, interestingly enough. But a lot of pods there for all of the coffees. And then your mini bar in the fridge is fully restocked every single day. And there's beers and non-alcoholic drinks in there as well. And then your butler comes by and introduces himself, and he asks you some of your preferences. You have a pillow menu, and then there is one bottle of alcohol included in your voyage that they'll place in your room. It can be hard liquor or a bottle of wine, so I elected for a bottle of wine. A lot of other inclusions like room service in these cabins. That's going to be an extra charge in other rooms on the ship. At least most other rooms, rather, and that's pretty cool because it does include the pizza, which is some of the best pizza at sea, and you will see a couple shots of that later on in the video. Since this was an ADA room, we had a roll-in shower, but overall, like, very comfortable. Loved all of the amenities within the bathroom. Lots of marble everywhere, so very high-end feel here, as you would expect in a yacht club environment. If you just found this channel, welcome. Thanks a lot for watching the video. Please hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel if you love this type of content. I travel all over the world, a lot of cruise ships, resorts, theme parks, you name it, and I love sharing it with everyone on YouTube. So thanks a lot for watching. One cool thing is that you can do a little continental breakfast in your room each morning with some hot items as well. So your butler will deliver that to you. It's very convenient and very nice. I didn't take advantage of the room service for breakfast, but overall a very nice experience here in the cabin. So I hadn't had lunch yet, and I wanted to go check out our private dining room here in the Topsail Lounge. So the Topsail Lounge is a 2-deck experience. On the lower level is going to be a lounge environment with the bar. They're going to have a small buffet down there with just more finger food, things to have with the drink. And then on the top floor is going to be the restaurant. At no time did I feel like the restaurant was too crowded. I always walked in and had a table immediately. Here's a look at the menu for onboard lunch. I was very, very impressed with most of the food here. It was very high-end, as top caliber as any specialty restaurant on any cruise ship that I've been on before. And this is included in your Yacht Club package for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I think on port days, sometimes this is closed for lunch, or at least at MSC's Ocean Cay, because you have private lunch on the island. My steak was prepared perfectly medium rare. It was one of the best steaks I've ever had at sea. And the cheese plate was a nice little dessert. Didn't want to go too full carb on the first meal. But I wanted to run upstairs and check out the sun deck and pool. This was probably going to be the place that I was excited to watch the sail away from. And it's just a really nice environment up here. Not very busy at all. Always was able to find a chair. Plenty of hot tubs for the number of guests that are in Yacht Club as well. I believe there's 3 or 4 that are up here, and a nice sized pool as well. So this area is completely private just for Yacht Club guests. And then you do have the buffet that's going to be open for breakfast and lunch, and they're going to have some finger foods in between meals as well, and of course a full bar. So all that's included. I don't think that the quality of the ingredients up here was necessarily any better or worse than the buffet downstairs, like for every main guest. Maybe a few nicer items here and there. But overall, this is a great option, I think, for people that are just looking for that quick, more casual meal. Since this was a quick voyage and I wanted to film the whole ship, I spent a lot of embarkation days shooting the full tour of the MSC Seashore. You can check that out on the channel that has been posted. You can see every single nook and cranny of this ship, deck by deck, and I try my best to feature just absolutely everything that you can see on board to better plan your vacations. If you're looking for a few more tips and tricks, maybe a little bit of extra personal help, we do plan travel here at Jackson Jetsetting. You can reach out to us at my email, mark@jacksonjetsetting.com. There is a lot to explore on a ship of this size, especially on such a short voyage, so I was running all over the place on embarkation day to check everything out. I love the infinity pool down on the lower decks. It had a really great vibe in there, though a little small and felt a little crowded. I did walk through during embarkation day lunch in the main buffet just to see how things looked, and it was absolutely chaotic in there, but the food looked pretty good. So don't shy away from the main buffet if you're not afraid of crowds. If you're someone who absolutely hates a chaotic environment, I would avoid this like the plague. A lot of ships were leaving port at the same time as us, a little bit before, Voyager of the Seas being one of them, and you can check out full tours of her sister ships on the channel like Mariner of the Seas and Navigator of the Seas. Haven't gotten on board Voyager of the Seas yet, but hope to soon. But it was almost time for sail away, and it's one of my favorite times on any cruise because everyone's so excited. Everyone's got their sail away drinks, and everyone's starting to have a really good time. Dinner starts at 5:30 in the top sail lounge, and I like to eat an early dinner on most ships because there's just so much going on later in the evening. I'd rather get dinner out of the way, and there's always time for a little late night snack. But it's a great spot to watch sail away from. I love this top sail lounge for the ocean views. It just always seemed that dinner was timing out for us leaving port each time I dine in here, which was absolutely okay with me. But had some nice little bread, some pot stickers to start, and just was enjoying the view during my lovely meal here in the top sail lounge. I don't normally go for prime rib, but I definitely wanted to on this trip, and it was excellent. Had some nice fresh horseradish, and I did want to try the fresh made pasta, which was excellent, and then a tiramisu dessert, which was very, very good. So very thrilled with that. And then it was time for the show that evening, and they basically have a more general show, just with some music, poppy music that can kind of play to all crowds. Yacht Club has your own reserved seating, and so Butler will actually escort you down if you wish. They insisted on it on our voyage. It was nice to meet the cruise director here, and everyone was super excited, bringing on board a couple people like the captain and things. So it was really a nice experience and a good job, at least on that embarkation day, getting to meet everyone involved with the ship at this big event. It's surprising that a lot of ships really don't do this. Overall, the quality of the shows are not amazing on MSC, I have found, but perfectly enjoyable for the 30 to 40 minutes that they last. Again, it's mostly just covers and dancing, nothing with a story, at least on the sailings that I have taken. After that, I just explored the ship a little bit more. It has a New York theme, the Seashore, so you have a Times Square area, which I thought was pretty cool. Lots of LED lights, and it was themed to what Times Square looks like, so that was pretty fun. Grabbed some finger foods down in the top sail lounge, and then returned to my room to find my bottle of wine waiting for me, which was really nice. Though with an unlimited drinks package, I don't think the bottle of wine is necessarily all that useful. Had some macarons on account of my diamond status with the MSC, which I got from a pure match to Hyatt Globalist. This is only my second MSC cruise. And then got some room service pizza, which was one of the best pizzas I've ever had at sea. Woke up nice and early the next morning. We were heading into Nassau, but I had work to do. I wanted to explore this whole ship some more. Wanted to do all the water slides, check out the pools. I loved that the Topsail Lounge had a nice setup of still and sparkling waters. If you're a fan of bubbly water like I am, San Pellegrino flows like crazy in the Topsail Lounge, which I was a big fan of. I wanted to see what breakfast was like here. I wanted to get an early one in too before the big rush, and the rush never really came, which I was really surprised by. I loved how relaxing this whole lounge was. So they have a couple hot options. They have some quicker options if you're trying to get out the door. I will say that the service is very leisurely here. Sometimes some meals were a little bit slow, but I wasn't complaining too much. It was really nice, and the drinks, kept flowing, especially at dinner. They were always refilling my wine, and the service was always nice. Just I think the kitchen can get a little backed up here, and breakfast was a little slow for me, but I did get a nice little waffle here. And I love the view of sailing into Nassau past Atlantis and a lot of construction for the new Royal Caribbean destination that they're building on Paradise Island. So I'm excited by that. It's supposed to open later in 2025. We'll see if it sticks to that schedule. But walking off the ship, after exploring and doing a few videos for the full tour, I wanted to check out a little bit of Nassau itself. Just do a few laps around town, see some things I haven't seen in a while. All right, so we are at our first port of Nassau, Bahamas. I have been here a lot filming all this stuff for the channel. So today we're gonna try and do something different. I've never been to the Queen's Staircase. Here it might be closed, but at a minimum might be a nice little hike up there, not too far from the port. May go check out Atlantis, just walk around a little bit, we'll see. Overall, the first night was really great. I gotta say I'm a fan of Yacht Club. It's gonna be hard to go back after having access to that. Restaurant has been really great. Having the beverage package just makes things nice and easy. You don't have to sign anything. You don't even scan your card. You have your Yacht Club wristband and people just take care of you. It's really nice. Butler has been amazing. Haven't really asked too much of him, but overall a really, really great time. So the new port has been open for a couple years now, opened shortly before I started doing a lot of cruises for Jackson Jetsetting. It's made this a lot nicer of a port. I cannot believe there's only 2 ships in port right now here in Nassau. It's basically empty. It's like a Monday on the off season at Disneyland or something. No lines. So we're gonna go walk through the port here and see what kind of fun we can find for a few hours on shore. Still constructing a lot of things in the port. They're building a water park, which would be pretty cool. And then Royal Caribbean, right next door on Paradise Island, is building their own private excursion destination with a huge swim-up bar, lots of fun stuff that should open end of 2025. So we are excited about that for sure. So let's go see what we can find. I love all of the ship spotting, especially my own in Nassau. So great spot today. Not too busy, just 3 ships in port in total, which sounds like a lot, but it really is just not a lot for Nassau when they usually have 6 ships in port. So I was able to walk right up to the Museum of the Junkanoo, check out the exhibit from the outside. This does charge an admission fee. I wish that they would just make this free because I do want to walk in, but I'm not willing to pay. I think it was like $10 to get in. So my main goal today was to step out of the port and get some steps, walk a few miles on shore, not waste my day completely on board, though a lot of people don't leave the ship. The Queen's Staircase was closed for reconstruction, but you are able to get up pretty close and at least look at it. I could tell why this is a popular spot, especially for Instagram. It's a very lush environment, very, very pretty. This video really doesn't do it justice. It's a very pretty spot here on the island, so I definitely recommend checking that out. And there is Fort Fincastle that it's connected to, so you can check that out up the hill as well. It's about a 15-20 minute walk from port. So the John Watling's tour is free. Do a little history, how they make rum, history of the property, a few samples along the way, and then they have a bar that has pretty reasonably priced drinks at the end. So nice little diversion here and very close to the cruise port. So it does appear another ship is coming into port. I can't tell who it is quite yet. Might be a royal ship. We'll have to see. So a quick little walk back into town. Plenty of shops and restaurants here just outside of the main port area. You always have to walk by Senior Frogs to get back to the ship, and what appears to be the Celebrity Reflection coming in. So of a nice looking vessel there, bagging into port just as I was getting back on board. Now, there is plenty to do in the Port of Nassau. I have a full tour of the Atlantis Water Park, as well as Baja Mar, which has its own water park. There are island tours that you can do at Blue Lagoon. You can swim with dolphins. You can do snorkeling tours. There are a lot of things to do to get you off of the ship in Nassau. And I know there are a lot of State Department reports about Nassau's dangerousness, and I will say I've never experienced a problem. Of course, every day is different, and crime can happen at any time, but I've never experienced any of that here in Nassau. Just watch your belongings, make sure that the pickpockets that I have not really come across here at all, but don't tempt, any pickpockets or anything like that. Just don't make yourself a target. And there's certainly no violence that I've ever experienced here. So I have full confidence of getting off the ship, walking around a little bit, and experiencing the islands that the ships take us to. So stepping on board, it was pretty cool that the Yacht Club has its own area off the ship, and they'll escort me back on board, which is super nice. Then I wanted to take the fancy glass elevator up from the pool deck to the Bridge of Sighs, just to try something out. I know that this is a kind of secret elevator, not a lot of people know about it, and it's not really busy. Once I was back on board, I wanted to try out the water slides, had to sign a waiver to get my little wristband there. Didn't film on the slides. But then headed up to the Yacht Club and saw that they had pretty reasonable prices for cabanas. So if that's something you're after, that's pretty cool. I had a free specialty dining as a part of being a Diamond member. So I wanted to use that for lunch because I felt like, one, the lunch wasn't all that exciting in the Top Sail Lounge. So Ola Cantina, it was all you can eat for $29.99, which I thought was a pretty good deal. So that's all included with my free specialty dining meal. And overall, very impressed with the quality of the food. Having lived in the Southwest my whole life, I know what good Mexican food is, and this was pretty good. The tacos were very flavorful. The little horchata tres leches was pretty good. So that was a lot of fun. I walked off lunch a little bit, exploring the ship a little bit more, seeing some of what the public pools look like. I did want to try out my free round of F1. I had 3 laps on the F1 track. It was Masters weekend as well, and I'm a big golf fan, so I wanted to check that out as well. And then all Yacht Club guests were invited to this Explora Journeys little event that they had. And this is MSC's new high-end cruise line, so they're definitely promoting it to people that are in Yacht Club and maybe people that are in the budget for something like that. It was nice to have some caviar, and then Sail Away was happening shortly after, so nice to head back up to the Yacht Club for that. And then it was time for dinner. So it was a lot of food today, but that's kind of how cruises go for me. Beautiful sunset views from dinner tonight in the Top Sail Lounge. I went with the chicken entree during this meal, which was my least favorite thing I had on board. I just felt like it was pretty bland. It wasn't necessarily inedible, but really beautiful views at least to enjoy. And a lot of asparagus going on tonight, which I'm a big asparagus fan. So most of the food really in the Top Sail Lounge was absolutely top notch. Just not everything you're going to have is going to be perfect. So this just wasn't my favorite thing. Dessert, of course, delicious because this is how things go. And then I had a little dessert waiting for me near my bed at night. Another bottle of Prosecco waiting in the room for me because of my status with MSC. So you do get a lot of goodies, and as well, you get a little chocolate bar from Vinci Chocolates. Checked out the show again, and it was, some decent singing. Nothing, outstanding, I would say, but very enjoyable 45 minutes. The nightclub had some live music going on in there, and I liked this lounge. It was multi-story, so definitely doubles as like a bunch of different events going on. All right, so we made it to Ocean Cay. This is MSC's private destination. We're here nice and early at 8:30. Gonna explore the island a little bit, do a lighthouse climb, and then head over to the Yacht Club exclusive area. A lot of stuff to do on the island. This is an interesting one because they've completely renovated the island from being an industrial island originally. It's actually man-made originally, which is kind of cool. And so Ocean Cay, we're not going to explore fully in this video. I have a full tour up on the channel of everything there is to possibly do on the island, but I did want to show you a few establishing shots of the island as we make our way to the lighthouse climb. This is the entry plaza. This is definitely the most developed area, and I think the nicest looking area besides the Ocean House for Yacht Club members. You do have a little area to wait for the shuttle over to the Ocean House right here, right next to the ship, so that's very convenient. They have free golf carts that'll take you all over the island, and that's true for regular guests as well. There's shuttles that'll take you pretty much anywhere you want to go. It is a massive island. From walking around in the morning, it took me well over an hour and a half to walk around on every path. So that is what it definitely has going for it, is the sheer size. So people can definitely spread out and find a spot of the beach just for their own. Okay, first impressions are this place is huge. There's a lot of room, but also seems like a lot of dead space. I know that they're definitely still adding to the island, and the entry plaza looked pretty developed and nice, but as you get further away from the ship, it seems like a lot of like tire tracks in the sand, and obviously stuff was planted. They planted a lot of trees here, I remember reading or seeing a YouTube video about, so they're definitely still making this place into what they want it to be. Not to say it's not ready for guests, it definitely has a lot of infrastructure already here, but it's big. I've been walking for about 45 minutes. Still haven't seen it all. I had a 9:45 a.m. lighthouse climb, and this was pretty perfectly timed. I was able to walk around the whole island and then make my way over to the lighthouse bar for check-in. The climb itself is pretty quick, only about 30 minutes, and it cost me $24 for the climb. A very good deal. I thought it was, you know, not the most elaborate tour, but you got to ask some questions about the island with your guide, and you got these amazing shots of the rest of the island. The water here is just absolutely beautiful, and it was a perfect day. So you got great shots of the ship, great shots of the island, and a little bit of cardio work going up to the top of the lighthouse as well. The lighthouse does have an LED show for the nighttime excursions. Most of the itineraries will stop here for a little bit later, you know, past sunset, or even stay overnight. Our ship unfortunately did not. At the end of that, I walked back to the ship and grabbed a golf cart over to Ocean House, which is Yacht Club's private section of Ocean Cay. And this is a huge benefit, I think, for Yacht Club members because it offers a very high-end sit-down lunch. You have your own spot on the beach, though I didn't feel like the beach area here was the best beach spot on the whole island, but overall it's just a really nice area to hang out for the day, and there's really not a reason that you have to leave if you don't want to. Now, you are able to walk over to Ocean House if you'd like, though it is pretty much at the furthest point away from the ship. It's on its own island called North Island. There are some public sections on North Island as well, but you walk across the bridge and you find your way to Ocean House. You just show your MSC Yacht Club band and they'll let you right in. So everything is locked down just for Yacht Club guests, which is really nice. As I understand it, they've recently renovated Ocean House and they've expanded seating, which I think they definitely needed. This is definitely the busiest that I felt Yacht Club in general on this cruise was, only because every table was basically full. I was able to grab lunch right when it opened at noon, but they do have a bar area here. You can come and grab as many drinks as you'd like. It's all included in your voyage, and then you have all of these tables here just ready for lunch or just sitting down reading a book. They do have a small indoor area as well as an area under kind of more traditional patio seating, so that is all available to you. And then, of course, the beach area with full bar service, reserved beach chairs, umbrellas, waters, and all that stuff. So everything you could possibly need for a nice, relaxing beach day is available here at Ocean House, and that was really a lot of fun to be able to experience. Now, I'm not really a big lounge on the beach type of guy, but I did hang out there for a couple minutes, watch the Masters, and then went over to lunch right at noon, ordered a drink and got a nice little salad, and then had the carne asada, which was basically a salad itself too, and it was very good. So a nice tender piece of meat there, and then a delicious little flan dessert. So overall, very good quality food. And as I was walking back to the ship, checking out a few more areas, I was very thankful to have Yacht Club on this voyage because, man, the buffet area here got very busy at lunch. If you're not sailing in Yacht Club and you don't want to deal with that long buffet line, there are a few beach shacks with hamburgers and cheeseburgers spread out throughout the island, so that might be a quicker wait than waiting in line. Overall, the beaches on the North Island I felt like were the best on the entire island experience. The ones facing kind of northmost on the island being the prettiest, in my opinion. Also seem to be the least busy. The beaches that are close to the ship obviously are going to be the most busy during the day, and they're quite nice as well. So I don't think you can really go wrong with the beach that you're going to pick. Just know that, you know, some beaches are going to be a little bit more crowded, especially the ones that are around the lagoon, because the lagoons is so pretty, nice shallow water, and a fun place just to hang out for the day and enjoy a beverage in the sand and in the water. Heading back to the ship, I wanted to check out one of the great benefits of Yacht Club that I hadn't experienced yet, and that was access to the thermal area in the spa. So this is an awesome benefit, I think, and the spa area on board was very extensive. They had several different types of rooms, including a snow room, which I did not use, and a nice little whirlpool inside, but they even had outdoor area with its own hot tub here. So while there's plenty of hot tubs up on the Yacht Club, I do like to enjoy a nice steam room from time to time. So it's really nice that this is all included in the cruise fare. Coming back to the room, I noticed that the sad information about debarkation was available. I do want to note that another great benefit of Yacht Club are these elevators, and you're able to actually use your band to call an elevator priority, and that worked very well throughout the voyage, so that was really a fun little benefit. So what are my thoughts on MSC's private island, Ocean Cay? One, the view from the ship, the island looks absolutely beautiful. Love the blue water here. I like this area of the Bahamas. It's pretty close to Bimini, and just for whatever reason, I just feel like the water is pretty here, though it's, you know, pretty everywhere. I mean, even in Nassau, it's really beautiful. So they got that going for them. Lots of beaches, huge island, absolutely huge. Walking around today, I was really surprised how long it took me to walk around the whole island and film my content and check everything out. I just feel like there's not a ton to do on the island. You know, there's a bunch of different bars, and you can hang out at those bars. You can go rent some beach equipment, you know, different kayaks and things like that. The lagoon is really great for that because it's protected from a lot of the wind. But, you know, besides that, there's no huge activities. There's no zip line course. There's no water park. There's no, you know, mini golf course, anything like that on the island to do. So it's definitely just a casual beach day, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It might be what you're looking for. Just keep that in mind if you're choosing MSC's island over maybe a different cruise line's island, that it is definitely a beach day. So I was excited to check out dinner on my last evening on board, a little Italian night. So very excited on an Italian cruise line to try a few Italian items on board. The caprese salad was delicious. I had the beef carpaccio as well. And then I had the ossobuco, which was excellent. Ossobuco on board cruise ships, I think, is always so good. So this is definitely one of my favorite meals on board. I was very, very pleased to check that out. And then just walked around the ship the rest of the night, checked out some of the entertainment going on, checked out the show. Again, a nice 30 minutes of singing and dancing, and definitely entertaining enough. But then I headed back to the Top Sail Lounge just to have a few more drinks before heading off the ship in the morning, and I was happy to find basically a flash mob of all of the butlers doing a little conga line and doing some dances, and it was a lot of fun. I felt like it lasted maybe 5 minutes too long. A lot of people, I feel like, were maybe trying to have a relaxing evening in the lounge, but it was really cute that they put together a nice little show here, so that was a lot of fun. Nice little box of truffles waiting for me, and I did order one more pizza before we stepped off the ship in the morning. Now, when I did step off the ship in the morning, I just went straight up to the buffet up on the Top Sail's private sun deck and just got a quick meal and then was ready to head off the ship basically at 7 a.m. And this was cool that my butler actually escorted me off of the ship, and that saved a lot of time as well. So that's a great service, and I was in my Uber heading back to Universal to go explore few more theme park rides, etc., and it was there right at gate opening, right at rope drop, which was really fun. So overall, a great cruise, and I have a few more thoughts from the ship. So now, having sailed MSC 2 times, I'm by no means an expert on the cruise line just yet, but I do have a couple of different experiences now. One in the cheapest cabin on the ship on the Divina, which was an inside cabin, and then the cheapest cabin in Yacht Club, which is also an inside cabin. Overall, I really think that the Yacht Club experience is a really great value in cruising. It's, I think, one of the best values in cruising. Honestly, if you're in the market for a higher end experience, a lot of the other cruise lines really do charge a lot and don't really deliver a lot of the times on their marketing promise, or I feel like a lot of customers and sailors are maybe a little bit disappointed in the level of service they've received. But at Yacht Club, I've really just been impressed with my butler, all of the service here. There's been some things that I'm like, okay, then maybe we could have improved this experience just a little bit. But overall, with how big this ship is, I think they've done an amazing job in the Yacht Club. Areas that I think could improve a little bit, the overall attitude, I think, of some of the bartenders could be maybe a little less friendly than what I've seen on other cruise lines. Not that they're rude by any means, but just it seems like it's kind of hit or miss. Food quality has been overall really excellent. There was one dish I had on the second night that I didn't really care for, but there are a lot of different options on the menu. The service is always really, really nice. It takes about an hour to an hour and 15 for dinner. So not incredibly slow, but not like a very fast-paced dinner either, but that's not really what you're here in Yacht Club for. So a beverage package is included with your Yacht Club fare, and it works all over the ship. It works on Ocean Cay as well, so that is awesome. Haven't been charged for a single drink, and it's been super easy. They give you a little wristband to wear that identifies you as a Yacht Club. Sometimes they don't even scan it. They just say you're good. So it's pretty cool and makes things really easy. You don't have to sign a receipt. A lot of times you can have to sign a receipt on certain cruise lines, even if the drink is free, but they don't do that here. So I really, really like that. It just makes the whole ordering process go really, really quickly, and it's just seamless and it feels pretty slick. So definitely kudos to them on that.